these earlier devotions, I told the story about how I felt that God was nudging me toward pastoral ministry when I was like 7 years old. And in another one of these devotions, I told the story about how I actually did not become a Christian, in my view anyway, committed to Christ, for another 10 years after that. And I listed a few of the things that kept me, I thought, from becoming a Christian at the time. Then I became a Christian on July the 8th, 1974, between my junior and senior year in high school. Now, I want to go on a little further with that story right now. Now, before I do, I want to say that it's not too hard for me to teach. It's not too hard for me to get up and tell stories. It's very uncomfortable for me to be transparent and talk about deep things myself. And when I started doing this, these couple of devotions, it dawned on me, or I felt that it was important, even if only my kids heard the stories, for my kids and maybe some of those that have gone through similar types of experiences to hear some of the stories. So I've been sprinkling a couple of them in. After I became a Christian, I was still stuck with this, I don't know, war with God. I guess a little disagreement that God and I were having. I kind of think in all of our lives as Christians, there are areas that God calls us to that are uncomfortable for us and that we kind of come into screaming and kicking. That certainly was with me. And so I wrestled with this over and over. One Sunday, in our church, my home church, there was an upstairs big sanctuary, and then a balcony up above that. And then downstairs, there was like a little miniature sanctuary with a little altar for kids to pray at, a little pulpit area. At the time, it's been remodeled since then. And I slipped out of the auditorium during a service, wrestling with God, came down and knelt at that little altar, and maybe I wasn't being as honest as I should be, but I had this idea, I think, that I gave him a challenge. I said, okay, God, I give up. I'll be a pastor. But I'm not going to go after it. If you really want me to be a pastor, you're going to have to come after me because I'm not going to hunt for it. And if you don't hunt for it, then my conscience is clear. Guess what's coming next? I'll bet you can. That was a dangerous prayer. My mom used to say, whenever you pray, be careful what you ask for because you might get it. Well, very quickly after that, still within that school year was starting that fall, and they were having a church membership class. I was already a member of the church, and one of the guys involved in the church membership class and stuff asked me if I would teach the class. I didn't know why, but okay. And it turned out to be he kind of coached me on how to do it, but it turned out to be a marvelous thing. We started a home Bible study, and the home Bible study grew really big during that year. One night, on a Sunday night, the pastor turned the church over to the youth. And each one of us were assigned by the pastor and the youth director to a different part of the service, to lead singing, to do different things. And I was assigned to give a short little sermon, a little homily, which I had no idea how to do, and I was bashful, and I didn't like to be in front of people. But I had said that if God asked me, I'd do it, and if God, didn't ask me, I was off the hook. Well, the pastor asked me. And then he kind of coached me on how to do it. So I got up that Sunday night, the best I could, and tried to give a little message. And I can still remember part of it. And I realized that I had almost nothing to do with it other than the mouthpiece, that the pastor pretty much wrote the whole thing. But at the end of it, which was kind of traditional, we gave a little altar call. And to my surprise, I didn't know what to do about it. People came forward to the altar that night. Well, it was not too long after that. By now, we're getting deeper into the fall, maybe starting into the winter of my senior year. And someplace in there, I don't remember exactly when it was, but a representative from our conference's ordination board. I'm thinking, I didn't ask you to call me. And what they said was they had been talking about me, and they kind of felt that I ought to go toward pastoral ministry. Why, I could not do it. I promised God I would do it. Never expected it. But from then on out, I was headed toward that direction. I suppose it's needless to say that that was a profound experience that changed the direction of my life's future. Well, I learned something when I was following God's leading and when I was going to college and studying for pastoral ministry, that a lot of people around me had these big dreams, plans for 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and what they wanted to be, and what they wanted to do, and what they wanted their future to be like. And they would set kind of steps or goals to hit those plans. And I think in all my life, once I started toward ministry, I never had a goal. I never had a plan. Maybe the way that I started into it shaped my view of God, but I always had this impression that God had a plan for my life. I didn't need one. And that if I stayed as close to God as I could and focused my intent on following Him and not my own ego, that God is quite capable of working things out and opening the right doors and shutting the right doors and leading me on a plan that He has for my life, whatever that plan might be. So here I am, a retired guy, or semi-retired, decades past that point, and I still don't know what I'm going to be doing a year or two or three from now, except that I know that God has a plan for my life, and I just want to follow it. Well, we're halfway through another week. In just a few days, we come together to worship our Lord again. But I've got to say, I'm not exactly sure what the next week or two will hold. We're right into the holiday season, and I don't know if this video will get out on time. I don't know if next week's video will get out on time. I might be a little late. I just don't know, because with all the holidays coming, it gets them all mixed up pretty easy, and we plan to do some traveling. So let me just say, until we get a chance to meet again, may God bless you and guide you day by day by day through your life.